Yo, what's up guys? How you doing? It is Lusty here. Welcome today to episode number 2 of a 3-part mini-series talking about the top 5 players in each position that I've enjoyed this year on FIFA 18. It's sort of a way to wrap up FIFA 18 Ultimate Team as we move very swiftly in towards FUT 19, which I am buzzing for, and I hope you guys are as well. But do me a favour, hit the thumbs up on this video, share it around, leave a comment in the comment section. How do these players change or compare to what would be in your top 5s? I want to know. So let's get into it, shall we? Today we're going to be doing the CDMs, the CMs, and the cams. So 3 different positions, and I'll just get it out of the way straight away. Like, if they're in my CDM spot, then they don't necessarily have to be a default CDM, but that is where I would typically play that player. Same for centre mids and cams. There's actually going to be a centre mid in my team, or in my top 5, which is actually a default centre forward, but I love to play him at centre mid, and I'm sure you guys can probably figure out who that player is. If not, we'll get to it throughout the video. So we start with CDMs, and in no particular order, we have my top 5. We start off with this chap right here, Daniele De Rossi. This is someone which only came into the game a month or so ago. We haven't had him for that long. However, he actually is really quite good. And that is, of course, the end of an era. De Rossi 95 rated. Like, obviously, he is going to be pretty mental because EA have absolutely gone crazy with the stats on this guy. It's not often we see an 80 pace Daniele De Rossi, is it? Because he hasn't had that for a very, very long time. He may have never had 80 pace on the game. I don't know. However, when they've boosted it so that he's got 94 passing, 95 defending, 96 physical, and in-game stats like that, yeah, he absolutely fits into my Serie A squad and is one of the best holding midfielders on this game. So there's De Rossi. So moving on to the next player, we have got this guy, 91 rated Fabinho. This is the team of the season Fabinho. He came out right at the very start of TOTS during community TOTS, I believe. And considering I had used the FUTMAS version of this guy for like a long time, for a lot of games, it was kind of obvious that I was going to enjoy a better version of him. Once again, we get a member of Club 80. We've got someone who's actually got a fairly decent amount of pace compared to that height situation in a CDM role. So yeah, Fabinho sort of did it for me. When you take a look at the in-games, they're not as crazy as someone like De Rossi that we've just seen, but he is lower rated, and he was like the entry level of TOTS where stats weren't as crazy as they are right now. But still, Fabinho, like super meta OP player. Even like the regular version of him is great. So having a 91 rated TOTS version was pretty much always going to work. Next up then, in my top 5 of CDMs, we have this guy. It is 88 rated Patrick Vieira. Now, I tell you what, I mean, I probably could put the 90 or 91 rated, the prime, but this is the one that I had a serious amount of matches with before he got his prime item, and I ended up not completing the SBC for that, or I didn't end up buying the prime Vieira, just because, like, I wanted to hold out for like Ronaldinho, for Hullet and stuff like that. So I just basically let it go. And Vieira, who was one of the best like holding players I used all year long, is someone which I just let go and then didn't pick up again for a while. But then when the Prime came out, I did get his loan item on both my main account and on my Road to Glory account. So I have played like 40 matches with the Prime Vieira, and I've got to say, yeah, he is absolutely insane. So maybe that should be, it's like a toss-up between this guy and, of course, this guy. Now, he does have some pretty awesome stats. The pace, having that 83 or 85 pace, depending on which version you're using, was kind of mad considering he is 6'4". Like that right there is what we were just talking about Fabinho, but almost even better because he's 2 inches taller and he was more pacey. And then this particular version seemed to unleash a long shot every now and again. Just love Vieira on this game. Yeah, and there was a reason why so many people use him even towards the end of the game. So next up on the top 5, we have 2 to go. It is Timmy Bakayoko because, well, even the regular version was crazy overpowered this year. So to get a 91 rated version of him was obviously always going to be my cup of tea. It was always going to work out well for us on the game. And yeah, he is just up there as one of the craziest, most ridiculous, most overpowered players on the game in his position, in my opinion. Once again, he's 6'1", so he's not quite as tall as a few of the players that we've talked about so far in this video. But something about him just works. You know, he was just always in the right spot. He was always making the interceptions, always taking the ball off of people. His passing and his pace on this particular version are up to a point where they're much more usable. And like, he was already great at defending anyway. So now he's got 92 defending. Now he's got 94 physical. He's super strong. Was just always someone that I was going to enjoy, and I'm actually very happy that he got that Futties winner item that he got this year, because damn, that just almost completes like a Premier League midfield for me. And actually, talking of Premier League midfielders, another player that, well, finishes up my top 5 in the CDM spot is going to be this guy, N'Golo Kante. Now, yeah, he's got a CM on him right now. I do toss and turn between playing him in CM or CDM, but I'd say CDM is literally the best spot for a player like this on the game, because holy damn, was this the best midfielder in like a defensive manner for me all year long. He is just he's so quick. He's tiny, so he's completely different to any of the guys that we've talked about so far in this video. But Kante is just the boss. He just like buzzes around everywhere and gets in the way, gets those interceptions, runs with the ball incredibly well. I mean, when do you see your CDM having 93 dribbling? It just doesn't often happen. So he is nearly a member of Club 90, of course, the 87 shooting being the only thing that lets him down. And to be fair, like most of his stats are really good in the shooting anyway. Like a 93 attack positioning, 85 finishing, 94 shot power, 86 long shots. It's just penalties and volleys that let him down, and you're not often going to be taking them with your CDM, right? But to have the 99 stamina, the 99 aggression, they're two very important stats, I think, for a player like this, and that is why, like, I'm not numbering them like 5 to 1. We didn't just go in order or anything, although you could argue that that was nearly the correct order, but this guy definitely features at number 1. Like, if we were going to say anything, out of these 5 guys right here, it's tough to choose which ones are 5, 4, 3, and 2. However, Kante is definitely number 1. Now, some honourable mentions for the CDM spots that I've used this year that I've actually really enjoyed. We have David Alaba, who of course got his birthday item, which changed position. We have Gustavo, Fernandinho, Prime Rijkaard was obviously great as well. And then Thomas Partey, who is just another player which, well, I think I won in the daily knockout tournament, but was actually really quite solid, and again has nice stats for a defensive midfielder. So that's the CDMs. Let's move it on a bit, up the pitch slightly to centre mids. So to start things off in my top 5 for centre mids, we have Raja Nainggolan. 93 rated team of the season Nainggolan has obviously got ridiculous stats. Only 3 pace and 2 defending away from being a member of Club 90. This guy isn't the tallest, but he has the high work rates. He's not the most skillful, but he just does fit the meta on the game. He gets good chemistry links to a couple of players in the Serie A, and it just makes him a lot more usable. And yeah, for quite a long time, a lot of people were using Nainggolan in their squads. And of course, with this particular version, he is an end game player. Next up for the centre mids, then we have this Arturo Vidal. Now, regular Vidal is used by many people all the time and has been throughout the whole of this FIFA. You got that little triangle of Boateng, Alaba, and then Vidal in the 4-3-2-1, and you get that chemistry link for the Bundesliga for the Bayern players. So when Vidal, who was super OP in meta anyway, gets himself a like ridiculous version, this is this an end of an era Vidal as well? I can't remember what it was particularly given out for, but it is a premium SBC item, of course. The nice shiny one which glows, and well, he is 2 pace away from being a Club 80, and well, most of his stats are well and truly into the 80s as well. Enjoy him in the centre of midfield. What a great player he's been all year long, and especially this particular version. So now moving up to the next one, we have Yaya Toure, someone which I didn't use until pretty recently, and I've only really used him for 7 games, but what those games that I've used him for, absolutely loved him. This is the best version of Yaya that I've ever used, and he's always been a favourite of mine to use on the game. You'll know that if you followed the Road to Glory, I had the slightly lesser version of this guy. We had the birthday one that we could, we chose to unlock him instead of Rooney. And Yaya has just been a beast for me. He gets that strong link to like Eric Bailly through his nation. And then obviously there's great Man City players in the Prem that you can link him to as well. And it's just a shame that, yeah, he has now moved to, is it Olympiacos he's moved to? And that we won't get a crazy Yaya in the Prem ever again. So this is the best version that I've ever used of him, and I loved him in FIFA 12, FIFA 13 when he got those TOTS items. Like, what a beast. I love him. So yeah, this 93 rated Yaya Toure, always a beast in my books. Next up then we have Leon Goretzka. Now, TOTS Goretzka kind of changed the game a little bit because regular Goretzka, yeah, super OP. Everyone loved to use him. He's quick and he's tall. You know, this is someone which had pace as a centre midfielder and basically could do everything. Could defend, could shoot, could get you goals, could do everything. And then he got that inform, which a lot of people used, and it kept a relatively high price. And I used it a little bit, and yeah, he was better than the original. But for the price that you pay for normal Goretzka, like he was legit, really, really good. And then the TOTS comes out, and wow, is it ridiculous? He is 1 dribbling, 2 defending, and 3 physical away from being a member of Club 90. 6'2" with 91 pace in the middle of that midfield. That is what kind of changes the game, in my opinion, on a player like this. He's just super OP. Look at them in-game stats. There's not an orange stat there. You know, he's light green and mainly dark green the whole time. Yeah, I mean, I know I've used the word beast an awful lot in this video, but Goretzka was like a classy beast. He just worked. He really did, and is up there as one of my favourite centre mids on FIFA 18 Ultimate Team. So that leaves one player left, and it is going to be this guy right here, Ruud Gullit. Now, like I mentioned at the very start of this video, Prime Ruud Gullit is actually a centre forward by default. So should he really fit into the centre mids category? Well, for me, this is where I play him. I literally play him as a centre mid as often as I can because I want him to be that man in the middle of the park, doing all of the running, creating all of the space, making goals, scoring goals, but also getting back and helping to defend and using that physical and stuff that he's got in his locker. So I've played 260 games with this particular version. I played a whole lot more as well with the 90 rated Gullit as well during the year. And I would say for like 85% of those games, he's been at centre mid. Sometimes at cam, sometimes slightly further up. You know, I've tried him at striker and stuff as well. Why not, right? You know, he's got the stats to play anywhere. But mainly, this guy is a centre mid in my eyes and does a fantastic job at that. Again, a little bit like what we said before, it's tough to rate these guys from 5 to 2. However, Gullit is definitely number 1, and I would say in total on every player on the game, Ruud Gullit is number 1 for me. If I was going to pick anyone, it would probably be him, just because he's such a great all-rounder and can do everything. So, those are my top 5 centre mids. Honourable mentions time, Prime Mateus, yeah, great, like, obviously, small version of Gullit, really, doesn't quite have the skills and stuff, but he does work really hard. I really like TOTS Saul this year. Like, I've liked Saul for a couple of years on FIFA, like, he's had some pretty good cards, and this one is no exception. This is the highest rated version of Milinkovic-Savic that I think I used. I don't think I used his TOTS. I would have loved to, but people were saying it was clunky, and I can't imagine it being that much better than this one, even though I'm sure the stats are pretty awesome. But yeah, 88 rated Milinkovic-Savic was obviously pretty tank-like. He's massive and has those sort of stats. And yeah, they did boost him up to a 4-star skiller in the end. So that was obviously pretty useful for a lot of people. Allen is like a sleeper player, which I swear not many people use, but is just legit. He's so good. He's like Kante, but in the Serie A for me. Like, he always buzzes around that DM spot, that centre mid spot, doing, you know, hard work. This particular version gets up there, gets in the goals as well. You know, makes assists, of course. But yeah, good centre mid. Sometimes play him as a CDM, and I guess a lot of people would probably by default play him as a CDM, but I always liked him in that midfield spot just because of his 88 pace. It was useful. And then we have David Silva. Again, like, you could argue that a lot of people might play him cam, but he did come out as a centre mid, and I think I played him as a centre mid as well, and was actually really quite impressed with just how good he was. David Silva, typically one of those players, doesn't fit the meta, isn't very good, but 95 rated version was insane for me. Let's move on to the cams then to wrap this video up. Right, I know I've been waffling a little bit here, so we'll get straight into it then, shall we? 91 rated Ronaldinho, the highest rated central version of the Brazilian, features in my top 5 for cams, because before the Prime came out, this is as good as we got, and I loved him. Ronaldinho, for me, is the most fun player on FIFA, and this particular version was just great. I don't own this one now because I own the Prime, so if I wanted to play the Prime at cam, I most certainly could. I'd just switch him in-game, and I do that very often. But yeah, this Ronaldinho was... This is the one which I used at the capture event right at the start of FIFA and holds a lot of good memories from there. I scored some great goals, made some good videos using this particular Ronaldinho. So he's definitely in my top 5. Next up, we have Andres Iniesta. This is the 96 rated end of an era version. I actually think he comes out of packs as, or came out of the SBC or whatever as a centre mid, but I have always played him at cam, even though I think, yeah, it could be a good option with the 70 defending and stuff. But just take a look, 98 dribbling, 98 passing, 94 shooting. You want this guy in the central attacking midfield spot. What a beast and what a legend of the footballing game. Then we have Kevin De Bruyne. This is the Team of the Year version, 96 rated. Now, again, he came out as a centre mid, but I didn't play him there. I don't like the look of that defending stat for a centre midfielder. What I do love is the dribbling, the shooting, and the passing, as well as the pace, the skills, the weak foot in a central cam spot in a 4-1-2-1-2. I think I also played him as a centre forward in a false 9 a couple of times, and he is just next level good. Like, when we got this card in January, it was game-breakingly good because we hadn't got anything like that. You know, with Tots that's come around, yeah, there's a few more players that you could slot in instead of De Bruyne. However, my days, for a few months there, this was one of the best players on the game. Belgium from Man City, Kevin De Bruyne, what a beast, one of the best attacking midfielders in the world, of course. And then next up, we've got Nabil Fekir. So this is the 95 rated version. This is the highest rated version and, you know, the best version I've used of this player. But I must say, like, shout out to the 94 rated Tots version. I love how that one looks, the item design, the dynamic image, all of that stuff. I don't like how this one looks as much, but he is, you know, he's got better stats, so he's a better version of what I've used. Fekir, beast. Look at the stats: 92 pace, 97 dribbling, 96 shooting, 95 passing, 93 physical. Like, what? He is just one of the most perfect cams with the 4-star skill moves as well. Just gets in the action and has some pretty awesome in-game stats, if we're being honest. And then finally, Pele, team of the season. Pele was great, guys. Prime Pele is what I'm trying to tell you. 98 rated Pele. Wow. 95 pace, 96 dribbling, 96 shooting, 93 passing, 5-star skill moves, 4-star weak foot. I've only used the loans on this guy. I've used 15 on this account, and I used all 20, I believe, over on the Road to Glory. Like, I love Pele, and I've used all 3 versions of him this year. This one is the best, and he's just got this skill, silkiness, class about him in game, and obviously strikes fear into your opponents when they see that they're up against a 98 rated Brazilian icon. So that wraps things up for the top 5s in the cam spot. Honourable mentions go to Del Piero, the Prime. All 3 versions of him really have been great this year. Prime Bergkamp especially love this guy. Really fun to use. Scored some great goals. Have put loads and loads of games into Rui Costa, so there's no way we can't shout him out. Prime Maradona, used him more on the World Cup mode, I guess you could say. However, they're both the exact same item, and yeah, he was great. And then of course we have 92 rated end of an era Kaká. Again, brilliant. Apart from the stamina, you know, just an all-round amazing cam on the game. So there you go, guys. That wraps things up for our team, for our top 5s of CDMs, centre mids and cams. If you have enjoyed, I know it's been a long video, but if you have enjoyed, do me a favour, hit that thumbs up button. Don't forget to sub to the channel if you're new around here. Have a lovely day, guys, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.